So it seems like we've been covering the food and cooking beat a lot lately.
How we found ourselves here. But
yeah. News story. So Bon Appetit magazine's editor-in-chief has resigned following the reemergence. I don't think that this is the first time that it came out. The reemergence of a photo of him dressed in a caricaturish Puerto Rican way. People are calling it brownface. Here's the tweet. Breaking Bon Appetit editor-in-chief Adam Rapoport. Let's go back to the first one. Has resigned. No, let's go. There we go. Has resigned after a photo of him wearing brownface resurfaced, and several of the magazine's few staffers of color publicly called on him to resign. Let's take a look at the photo. This was from a Halloween party, I think 16 years ago. Not a great look, let's be clear. Offensive, caricaturish, stereotypical, racist, all of those things. We have the response from Adam Rapoport in his own Instagram. He says, I'm stepping down as editor-in-chief of Bon Appetit to reflect on the work that I need to do as a human being and to allow Bon Appetit to get to a better place.
Yeah, I think this is utterly ridiculous. And look, a bad taste Halloween costume in 2003 does not mean that you need to resign from your job. And it shouldn't be, having a woke mob of your own staffers come for you. I think it's ludicrous. And one of the things that you and I are so outraged about a situation like this is that people are trying to graft onto legitimate outrage of the murder of George Floyd by pushing BS like cancel culture campus stuff from 2000. I mean, this was like a 2014 thing on college campuses, right? And then bringing that into their workplace and drawing any sort of moral equivalence between the two. Like, look, I have problems with police reform or the way that we talk about it and all that, but like, that is not the same discussion.
Right.
This is elite white liberalism at its absolute worst.
And I think you put it really well. It really trivializes the much more grave, threat to life and livelihood that we're trying to grapple with as a country right now when you make it about a Halloween photo from 16 years ago that isn't even new, that's already been out there. And look, he's not the governor of Virginia, for one example.
Food magazine.
It's a food magazine. He's not an elected official. He's not a public official. Look, if there were real legitimate problems in the workplace, if he really was discriminatory and they did an evaluation, they found, okay, fine, that's fine.
That's totally different.
But that is totally different. And look, I'm not in the room. I don't know. Maybe that is what went on, but it certainly looks like this was all sparked over the reemergence of this photo. And I find that sort of insane. I also even think, look, Ralph Northam, I thought he should have resigned, not just because of the photo, but even more importantly, it's about who you are today. And he showed in his absolute bungled response that he didn't
feel bad.
He didn't feel bad. He didn't understand really what the problem was. He had not sort of reformed and had an awakening in terms of these issues. And so to me, you aren't the person today that you need to be able to in order to represent and govern all of the constituents of Virginia effectively. In this case, it's a food magazine, number one. Number two, it seems to me like he does understand the problem with the picture. He does understand the way it was offensive, that he is committed to doing something differently. So, it trivializes the real deep structural issues that we are trying to grapple with now. And it's part of, I don't want to make this look this stupid magazine, let's not go crazy, but it is kind of emblematic of the way that the conversation about racial justice gets hijacked by the most prominent people who tend to be the most well-paid people. And so it tends to end up being about this set of elite concerns, rather than those deeper structural issues which are more uncomfortable for people who are in fact benefiting from the status quo.
Look, this New York Times, same thing. They didn't make it about actual, people. They made it about themselves. This puts black staffers in danger. Here, it's the same thing. Be like, by you doing this, you're no longer qualified to run a food magazine, which is the most insane thing that I've ever seen. And by the way, it was only done because a writer whose pitch was rejected kind of used it as a way to weaponize wokeness against a person that she felt like she didn't. I mean, look, this is coming for you. This type of stuff bleeds down. Everybody said what happened on the campuses didn't matter. Everybody graduated. Now they work at the New York Times. Now they're food writers at Bon Appetit or Refinery 29 magazine. This is going to worm its way into the administration and the structure of every powerful apparatchik in American society. And soon warehouse workers are going to be dealing with stuff like this. And soon, you won't be able to go to your job without being in a fear that how you dressed in Halloween in 2003 is going to lead to you being fired and weaponized, by the way, by cynical people who just want to take you down for their own purposes.
Well, and it gets weaponized in the other direction, where people who don't want to deal with racism, who don't want to deal with what we're seeing right now with the protests and George Floyd's murder, point to this and say, see, this is all an elite game.
Yeah.
It's all ridiculous. It's all absurd. It's all not real. So it gets weaponized in that direction as well and ends up undercutting everything that is good that you want to accomplish.
I think it really does. And I think this is one of the stupidest, most outrageous things I've ever seen.
We're rising for you after this.